Okay, good evening, YouTube. Welcome back to this next episode of FPL Family with me, Lee, and this is Sam. Sam, loads and loads and loads to discuss this evening. Loads, not least, Nicholas Jackson, halfway to Munich, no, all the way to Munich, gets there, gets told that Delap's got an injury. Back you come, son. And I think the toys have come out of the pram, haven't they? I think he's refused to leave Munich. I think he's still in Munich. And then I read that maybe Chelsea, they're like, oh, okay, well, maybe we'll get Mark Guiu back instead then. What is going on with the Chelsea loan system?
Don't you just love the fact that, like, I do feel like for the last few years, the transfer deadline days have been, like, a bit meh. Because, like, most people have done their business already. They've made their decisions. Yeah. Not this year. Everyone's just gone mental this year. It's like, oh, we've got nothing finished for Isak. We've got nothing finished for Gahey, who we then see scoring a worldie tonight.
Bloody Gahey's just put 10 million on his price tag with that little finish, isn't he? God, what
Emi
a
Martinez
finish.
suddenly he's off to United, not playing tonight. Like, honestly, I don't actually know what's going on at the minute. Who knows where Nico Jackson is? Who knows?
Well, the chat saying he's in Munich, but currently refusing to come back. That is, I mean, who knows? And to be honest, we are at that point in the window, aren't we, folks? And there's another good reason why.
Are you sort of here for his pettiness, or are you? Where are you with? Where do you stand with Jackson?
No, I think if you are employed, like, just imagine me, like, on a work trip somewhere. They sent me somewhere, like, I travel to Sweden quite a bit. Imagine me getting to Stockholm for like an event, and they say, no, actually, you've got to come back. I'll be like, no, I'm staying here now.
But it's a bit different, isn't it? Like, they've made it very clear, you're not wanted here. Off you bugger to Munich.
I don't agree with it at all.
And then he's got there, he gets off the plane and they go, oh, sorry, Nico, we've got a bit of a problem. Delap's got himself injured. You've got to come back.
I don't agree with it at all. I think it's nonsense that he's staying out there and throwing his toys out the pram. But still hilarious, And we've got, a day and a bit left of the transfer window. So we're not only coming into an international break now. So Gameweek 3 is done. The Villa and Palace game is finished. I think that is the last game, isn't it? They had all the games today, didn't they? Yeah, all those.
Well, this Palace game was supposed to be on Friday night. But because Palace were playing in Europe on Thursday, it got moved to tonight. That's
is that
why.
what it was?
Yeah.
Okay, fair dues. Yeah, fair dues. So, Palace showing no signs whatsoever of any fatigue, which is part of the reason I didn't go with any of them in my free transfers this week. I didn't go with any Palace, and I thought that Villa, needing a performance, we might get one, but clearly not. We've just finished watching it. That's why we keep pointing over there, because we've got the TV screen in the corner. We just finished watching that, but that's been that's been the end of the marathon, isn't it? It's been a marathon weekend of football, starting with Chelsea, ending with Aston Villa versus Palace. So Game Week 3 is now done and dusted in the books, just as we are getting going in FPL. Now we have a 2-week break, so we've got an international break now.
I feel like I need it.
And there was, there's one school of thought that says, and I think I always say this every season, is that just as we're getting going and we're finding momentum and we're starting to see, patterns emerging in some of the data, we then have an international break. Well, I don't feel like we're seeing any patterns in data at the minute. I feel like it's all over the place, the Premier League at the minute. I feel like anyone can beat anyone.
Oh, I don't.
Do you not?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, right. City losing 2 games though on the bounce?
That's just
they're finished now, aren't they? That's them done.
It's like, what is it you said about Harry Kane? Finished as a player?
Finished as a player, yeah. I think I was about four years too early with that one, but yeah.
He's still not finished as a player, I think you'll find.
He's still going, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's still going. But listen, lots to discuss. Fair warning for any of you that have been here before. I will have a VAR rant tonight. I will. Because there's a couple of absolute stinkers in VAR this week. Absolute stinkers. I don't know. Like, if you're a Josh King owner in FPL, like 4.5 midfielder, it's his first goal in the Premier League. The young lad, come on. No, not come on. He's started. He's got the goal, broken the deadlock away at their big rivals, celebrations galore. And then it gets ruled out. Oh, God, we are going to talk about that. Absolute
rubbish. Does anyone else
rubbish.
get a bit confused when they say Josh King? Because whenever
you still think Watford
in
Josh
the
King,
commentary, whenever they go Josh King, I get slight post-traumatic stress because I think about that game where we'd all captained him or...
Who was the other guy? I know exactly what you're talking about. It was a big double game, it wasn't there? And we all captained him.
It was only him. It was only Watford doubling. It was him and...
Guys, get in the chat. Tell us who that was. Who was that? It was Watford, wasn't it? A few seasons ago. And we all trebled either Josh King or there was another forward. What's his bloody name? Oh, Dennis. Henry said
Dennis.
Dennis.
Yeah, Emmanuel Dennis. That's right. And then Dennis got -2, didn't he? Because then he gets sent off and he can play again. And we were all really...
Justin K, Emmanuel Dennis, great shout. Brandon FPL Dennis, you're right. You're right, chaps.
So
brilliant.
every time I hear Josh King, it sends me back to that. Genuinely,
FPL trauma.
I've got trauma from Josh King, so whenever I hear his name, I'm like, ooh.
FPL trauma. Well, listen, if it's your first FPL family live stream, welcome. Give us a like, hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. I am seeing loads of familiar faces in the chat, Sam, as usual. If you're new, then we will do what we always do on a Sunday, which is have a very chilled out, kind of laid back look at the football that's gone on this weekend. Have a look at it from an FPL perspective. We'll start to think about what our teams might look like, transfers that we might consider, chips that we might play, maybe. I don't know. Over the international break. But we'll also do our teams, how we got on in Game Week 3, what the scores look like, and for what it's worth, overall ranks at this stage. But before all of that, Sam, we're going to say hello to a few people. I've missed a super chat already, so I'm going to scroll back to that. It's from George. Hello, George. He says, evening, Bonfields. Thank you for the super chat, mate. 37 points, mate. It's a tough week for many. 4.7 million rank. All I can say is fiddlesticks. Yeah, if you're in our patron Slack, you'll know about George and his fiddlesticks. Looking forward to my free hit Zoom with Sam. Hashtag Team Sam. Hashtag Team Sam. So George needs a little bit of help from you, Sam. Needs a little bit of help.
I mean, I'm... Look at my rank.
Well, it's early days. Babani is in. Hey, Babani, nice to see you. Who else we got? Gage Almighty. We've got Henning. Paul Cook is here. Nice to see you, Paul. A regular here on the Sunday night live streams. Joseph Maloney, one of our patrons. Nice to see you, mate. Nigel the Crab Simon is in and moderating. Thankfully, no real need to do much moderating in recent weeks, which is good. But I know that Simon is there.
You said that. Now Simon's going to be really busy.
I hope not. These are all proper FPL managers in here, Sam. They're not spammers. And if they are, Simon's there to crack the whip. We've had Louis in with the super chat. Thank you, Louis. Sam, who's getting your Kiernan Dewsbury Hall treatment this week? Want to get them in my team. We will talk about Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, Louis, a little bit later on. Simon in with the super chat. Thank you very much for that super chat, mate. Very, very kind of you. Evening, Lee and Sam. Hello, mate. I'm somehow 800k in the world. Let's go. Woo-hoo. Let's go. Whilst being semi-retired, a shout out, if I may, to George and I walking the 26-mile Shine Night Marathon on September the 21st for cancer research. Yeah, guys, that deserves a thumbs up. Go and give that post a thumbs up. So we've got two of our long-term patrons, Simon and George, doing the Shine Night Marathon, which you did, I think, this time last year.
With Simon.
Simon's doing it again this year. The glutton for punishment, this guy, honestly. September the 21st for cancer research. So absolute round of applause for Simon and for George doing that walk. That is no mean feat, as you can testify to.
I
that is no mean feat.
hope, boys, that you get better weather than we did last year, because last year the rain was incessant and it was difficult, and Simon kept me going during that long night. So yeah, good luck, boys. You'll smash it, both of you. Simon, you're a pro now. You've done it before.
Yeah, been there, done it. Got the t-shirt, old Simon. Absolutely. Kevin Jenkins is in. He says 34 points. It's been a tough week for many. L14M is in. We've got Wayne Lavelle, FPL Wheeler. We've got Sheldon, Kingdom FC, and a whole host of you guys in this evening. So welcome along to the live stream. Welcome along. If it's your first one, hit that subscribe button, like, and all that good stuff. All right, Sam, let's get on with some of the games, and that's why I've kind of rushed through the hellos to get to the game, because there is loads to discuss, absolutely loads to discuss.
Can I suggest that we start with Chelsea and Fulham, so you can get your first VAR rant off of your chest? Yeah,
well, I think I've sort of had it there in the intro, but
you're happy to leave it at that?
What good can come of it? Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I was expecting...
It's complete and utter bollocks, is what it is.
I was expecting...
It's absolute nonsense.
I was expecting you to... The thing that... Okay, right. Here's my 2 pennies worth.
Go on.
It's Chelsea-Fulham game. I don't have any Chelsea defenders.
No.
I said I thought that Fulham were going to be difficult. It would be difficult to break down. It's a derby. It's going to be hard. Fulham score a legitimately good goal.
Yeah.
It should take away the Cucurella and the Sanchez clean sheets. And they flip him, rule it out, and then they go, oh, sorry about that, we got it wrong.
My riposte to that, to stand up for Cucurella and Sanchez owners, which is unlike me. I appreciate that. It's very unlike me to do that, to stand up for Chelsea. But to concede the odd goal in 6 last week to a 0.01 Paqueta screamer, I think Sanchez and Cucurella owners were very unlucky last week not to get the clean sheet. So there's a little bit of a rebalancing in the universe there, no?
There's not. It's just really, really annoying. It's a perfectly legitimate goal. So was last week's. A perfectly legitimate goal. It doesn't matter whether it comes from an XG of 0.00001 or an XG of 805. It makes no difference. The point is that it's a legitimate goal last week and it's a legitimate goal this week. It annoys me no end when VAR says sorry. Because first of all, from a Premier League perspective, if Fulham go 1-0 up, who's to say they don't go on and win that game? When you go 1-0 down, anything can happen in that game. So first of all, it has an impact on the Premier League result, but it also fundamentally changes FPL because all those 6-pointers for Cucurella and the Chelsea defenders and Sanchez, plus the bonus points that they pick up for keeping clean sheets and all of that jazz, it's really, really frustrating to then hear we got it wrong afterwards. That's all I'll say.
And the guy that was on VAR for that game, I think, was due to be on VAR for Liverpool Arsenal today, and they binned him. Yeah. They binned him. They demoted him, got somebody else. So not only have they issued an apology, which I haven't seen formally. I mean, if they have apologised, they've done it very quietly.
No, they haven't apologised. They've just said they got it wrong.
Oh, okay. Well,
they issued a statement saying they got the decision wrong. And
because of that, this guy's not going to be on the VAR for the Liverpool game. Is that basically what they said?
I didn't hear that bit, but yes.
Yeah. It's an absolute howler. Absolute howler. And Kingdom FC, you're absolutely right. There was a comment there, unlike you, Lee, to be standing up for Chelsea, but we appreciate it. Mate, you Kingdom FC, you're nearly an OG in here, mate. You know I don't ever stand up for Chelsea. But listen, they definitely I think deserved a clean sheet against West Ham, less so against Fulham. And if you own Sanchez or Cucurella, then you just take the 6 points this week rather than last week. Talk to me about the penalty incident, which I also believe the referees got wrong, by the way. I thought Joao Pedro handballed it in the build-up to the goal. So I didn't to the penalty given. So I don't think it should have been a penalty for Chelsea in the second instance. But then a lot of Joao Pedro owners, particularly those that captain him, are expecting him to stand up and take that penalty, but Enzo takes it. So what are we saying about that? Does that lessen our kind of feeling about Joao Pedro? For me, it doesn't. I mean, the amount of forwards that we've got to play with in FPL is kind of shortening by the day, isn't it? So he is definitely one I'm not thinking of selling, despite not having penalties. Does it put you off a little bit? Because you're a new owner for Joao Pedro, right?
No, it doesn't put me off because realistically, at the end of the day, when Palmer comes back, he's taking pens back anyway, you would expect. So, Joao Pedro being on pens would be a nice to have for sure, but that's not why I invested in him this week. I invested in him this week because he was killing me every week not having him. So it was one of those where it's like, right, okay, well, we'll get him in. But the penalty thing, yes, it would be nice, but for me, it's not an off-putting factor.
Yeah, and as the chat is saying, Babani, you're right. Cucurella ending on 9 DEFCON. That's frustrating if you own Cucurella, isn't it? 9 DEFCON.
No, be quiet. You can't have DEFCON and a jammy clean sheet. Go away, Cucurella owners. No. If they've got 4 additional points that they do not deserve, they're not getting the DEFCONs as well.
Cool, blimey. You're on one tonight, and we ain't got
they don't deserve it.
Yet.
They're already 4 points up on what they should be.
Yeah.
Enough.
Okay. Yeah.
Enough points for you, jammy Cucurella owners. You get back in your box.
He's an expensive asset.
No, get back in your box.
Right. Anything to say about Fulham? Or we're moving on. Oh God.
Fulham.
It was a bit meh, wasn't it?
I just think Fulham are blimmin' unlucky. They've scored a perfectly good goal and then they've had it taken away and then they lose 2-0.
Despite the fact he had his goal chalked off, I thought Josh King looked pretty lively. Do you think that it's he and Emile Smith-Rowe fighting for that position, or do you think? I think it's probably Josh King's to lose at the minute. He's playing pretty well.
If you're Emile Smith-Rowe, you're a bit annoyed, aren't you?
Why?
Well, you leave Arsenal because you want to get regular football.
Well, he's got to prove he wants regular football.
Yeah, I guess so.
He's obviously not proving it.
No, I guess so.
And he's barely ever fit. And when you see him in pre-season, he doesn't. He looks like he could use a fitness test or two, doesn't he, Emile Smith-Rowe? He never looks fit to me. He never looks fit.
We don't really look like a footballer.
Don't know.
If you put him in a suit, he could definitely be a businessman.
Anyway, the point I'm making is that Josh King at 4-5 in our midfields, if you are thinking of wildcarding over the break and you need, to squeeze every penny out of that midfield, I think he's a good option.
It's not a bad
Probably
option
right.
for sure. Yeah, it's
Probably
not a
right.
bad option.
All right, let's move on. I thought Chelsea were very much worth the 3 points and are looking pretty good. Highest overall in the league for XG. So non-penalty XG or XG? Don't know. Someone in the chat can tell me. But I definitely saw a stat. I think it's non-pen XG. They're 7 point something. Whereas the next best is like 5 point something. Chelsea creating a lot. I know they had West Ham game week 2 and scored 5 goals. I was going to say
that's influenced by that West Ham game.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I still think that they absolutely are showing all the signs of a team that are carrying on the momentum from the summer. However, that is now a number of injuries, isn't it? You look at Palmer's injury, Delap's injury. Who's the guy that got the ACL? The lad at the back. Colwell with the ACL. So, are they managing their players correctly again, Chelsea, or are they just flogging them to death, Ange style? I don't know. I do wonder whether this Club World Cup
was that just a little dig at Chelsea just because you've been nice about them for a bit? So you thought, I better have a little dig at them.
Kingdom FC was wondering whether he's in the wrong stream.
Kingdom FC is thinking, he's like, oh my God, I better have a lie down. And then you said that and he was like, okay.
Lee's being nice about Chelsea. This
the
is wrong.
universe
I
is
must be in the
realigned.
wrong stream.
He was thinking that we're in the wrong Marvel universe for a second there. He was like, what's happening? This is a stream
Listen to you just because we watched Fantastic Four last night.
Did you like that?
I bloody love Fantastic Four last night.
Did you like my reference I said about being in different universes? Because you know, if you could be nice about Chelsea
you chucked a little MCU reference
Did you
in.
like
I'm not against it.
No, I thought you would.
I'm not against it. And I'll tell you what, I bloody loved that film last night. Anyone that's seen Fantastic Four, go and see it. Very, very good. Kingdom FC's in the chat. He says, okay, back to our regular schedule. Very good, Kingdom FC. Very good. Where do you want to go next? God, there's so much to discuss. Let's go to one of today's games. No, I want to do Man U. Let's do Man U 3, Burnley 2. They celebrated it like they'd won a bloody trophy and they beat Burnley at home. What are we...
Here we go, United fans, strap in.
I've been a little bit nice about Chelsea. I can't be nice about Man United as well on the same stream. That's just impossible.
Strap in.
What are we saying?
No, right, go on. Floor to you, go on. You've clearly got things to say, so get off your chest and then give my opinion.
They just look totally inept, don't they, Manchester United? I mean, absolutely totally inept. The goalkeeper, I mean, they've got to sign Martinez. It looks like they're going to get Martinez.
Where's that come from, by the way? That's another one.
It's come from the fact that Onana looks like absolutely awful against Grimsby. It looks like Grimsby's about his level, if not that's below he's below that level during the week. And then this Bayern Deer fella's coming in, and he looks worse than Flappy Ansky. He's like flapping around after you just have to cross it against Man U now, and it's a goal.
But what I meant is at the back end of last season, game week 38, Martinez walks around the pitch at Aston Villa.
Yeah, tearful goodbyes,
waving goodbye.
Yeah.
To his fans. Oh no, game week 37 wasn't it? Because it was the game against Spurs. Oh, sorry, sad to see you go. All of that. He basically says goodbye.
Yeah. And now he's back.
Now he's still here. He's played the opening 2 weeks. And then suddenly, a day before the deadline, he's going to go to Manchester United.
Well, anyway, look, I think you could go to Old Trafford and play in goal, and it would be an improvement on the team. I mean, the goalkeepers they've got, they're obviously not bad goalkeepers. They're just lacking confidence. And the problem with Man United is that the club don't ever give their players any confidence. They're just so quick to just kill them when they have a bad performance. That there's the one player, the one position you need to give confidence to is a goalkeeper. A player you can swap in and out, but a goalkeeper, they've got to be confident. They've got to be on it. They've got to feel like the man. And neither of them do that. And the club don't do anything. And the fans don't do anything to give them any praise or give them any confidence.
Yeah, but to be fairly, there's not a lot to praise them for.
So I think Martinez is actually a decent signing because he's a really zero fucks given goalkeeper, isn't he? He is. He doesn't give a blind about anything, does he? So I don't think it doesn't matter what sort of criticism comes his way. He can just go, I've won a World Cup. Screw you all. So I don't think it's a bad signing at all, Martinez, by Manchester United. It's not bad. But anyway.
Giving up European football.
Something like that, yeah. But anyway, 3-2. The last minute penalty for us Bruno captainers is the jammiest of jam, isn't it? I mean, is it a pen? Is it a pen in your opinion?
No.
It didn't look it to me. If it is, it's soft.
It's a really, really soft pen. But as soon as it's given, isn't it? You know?
And he ain't missing 2 in 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean?
It's so infuriating because actually the game, they just didn't look very good again, Manchester United. Another week, Cunha, if you bought in Cunha this week, you're damn unlucky because he's now picked up an injury. Looks like he's
loads of
be
people
out.
did Palmer to Cunha. That was a massively popular transfer.
Max did it
as well.
Max did it. Brought Cunha in this week.
Yeah.
Trying to being a bit different. But then Cunha was played for the full 90 minutes against Grimsby in midweek and took pens. So, maybe it's a bit too much in the legs. Who knows? I mean, should be. You're a professional footballer, right? But then they did have the Club World, not the Club World Cup. They had Summer Series, didn't they, in the summer?
Yeah,
so
but come on.
A few more fixtures maybe here and there.
Of course, that stuff, isn't it?
It should be, but I don't know. There seems to be a lot of big injuries picking up in this early part of this season. So, well, I guess we'll wait and see over international break how that materialises for Cunha and what the prognosis is, but I think you were unlucky if you went there.
And Bomo looks all right.
And Bomo looks all right.
Tidy finish against Grimsby, and again another goal here. So
yeah, he looks all right. If you went for him, he looks all right. Bruno, I just feel it's really frustrating because
how do you feel? So as a Bruno owner, I feel like again I've massively got away with one, but again in game week 2, I felt like I could have had more points, and he missed the penalty. So a bit like the Chelsea defenders, I feel a little bit like it's a bit calmer that he scored this week. But again, I didn't see anything in his yes, the defcons are fine, right? You're getting the defcons with Bruno because he's playing a little bit deeper and he's getting the defcon, but he's just not involved. He's not involved.
I'm not being funny, but for the last 3 weeks, there's been nothing in Bruno's game to suggest he should get any attacking points.
Well, no, outside of a penalty spot.
He's missed a penalty. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That happens, right? It is what it is. This week, I don't think it's a penalty. And then he scores it. And it happens right at the end of the game. And it's really infuriating because having not gone for Bruno because... okay, you can take this one of two ways, right? You can say, well, Sam, that's on you because you know that he's on penalties and you know that they get a lot of them and therefore it's going to hurt when that happens. And you're right. You'd be absolutely right and within your rights to say that. However, it's also really, really annoying because I watch the games. He's not passing the eye test from an attacking perspective. From a Manchester United defensive security captain perspective, this is, that's another story. From an attacking perspective, I'm not seeing him do the attacking things that I would want him to be doing, which is why I've not invested. So that last minute penalty feels really, really irritating.
Can I just say, I did think when I watched the highlights of the game that it was a little bit game of two halves. And what I noticed was that, and I was super impressed with Mason Mount in the first half, by the way, all energy, looked to be, if not back to his best, and certainly looked fit and the pressing was good and he was full of energy. He then goes off at half time. Who knows? Probably injured again. Poor old Mason Mount.
Always injured.
He has one good half of running around, and then he just has to go off at half time. Well, that did mean that Bruno was at least therefore a bit more present in the final third. Like first half, you didn't see him at all. Every time United came forward, I always kind of sort of pause the highlights to see, okay, well, who's in the attacking third, and he's not there. But in the second half, you pause when they're attacking, and he's at least there. Wouldn't say, to your point, he was full of beans attacking and loads of XGI, but at least he's in the bloody frame when you pause it. So the reason for mentioning that is I've got to keep an eye, and I think we all should, if you're a Bruno owner, keep an eye on the Mason Mount diagnosis and what his injury looks like. Because if he is injured, then perhaps Bruno plays a little bit further forward. I don't know, just something I noticed in the game.
Are you planning to keep Bruno with? I mean, we'll talk about this later, but the fixtures don't look great. Like, I don't think they're a heavy buy.
Well, the next two don't look great, and I've got two Manchester United, one of which was dropped altogether for this game, by the way.
This one, we'll get to it later, but the Dorgu one,
yeah.
Why is he dropped?
Don't know. United fans, you tell me, because he actually looked, I thought, all right in the first couple of games. Hit the post and did okay. Maybe he played against Grimsby and they didn't want to risk him for another 90 minutes at the weekend. Cunha gets a hamstring pull and Dorgu gets a rest. I don't know. You tell me. But anyway, I was super surprised that he wasn't in the starting 11. He was on the bench and I'm thinking, well, now he's going to come on and get a 1 point cameo, isn't he? Either way, with the two fixtures in particular coming up for Manchester United, let's just have a look at those, actually.
It's the derby, isn't it, next?
Bring the fixtures up for Manchester United. If you have a look at the next 6 fixtures according to Fantasy Football Scout, and this is where I get all of my data whenever we do a FPL family live stream, have a look at Fantasy Football Scout, their members area, the fixture ticker. They've got every tool that you could need for playing FPL, you'll find on Fantasy Football Scout. It is a little bit of a hashtag ad because we've got an affiliate link in the description below. And of course, we are both heavily affiliated with Scout. But genuinely, like, it's not one of those, oh, here's an ad for Scout. We properly use it all weekend, and we definitely use it for this live stream as well. And this fixture ticker is just one of the tools you'll find on Fantasy Football Scout. And if you go to the next 6 games and sort by difficulty on the Fantasy Football Scout fixture ticker, you'll notice that Manchester United are right rock bottom. Manchester City away next. Then it's Chelsea at home. It's a bit small on my screen. Brentford away, Sunderland at home, and then Liverpool away, followed by Brighton at home. So, yeah, a tough run coming up for Manchester United. So I do have pause for thought around Bruno, but for Dorgu, despite the fact that Dalot was crap, right? I didn't rate Dalot at all at the weekend, so maybe Dorgu comes straight back in. But with those fixtures, I probably need to get rid, don't I?
I want to get rid of
I can't have a rotation risk there, can I?
Not when there's been some actually really decent 4.5s elsewhere. Like, if we end up with Mark Gahey going off to Liverpool, oh my goodness, isn't that a gift?
Well, could be, but I've noticed some other 4.5s that I really like the look of.
Is one of them Senesi?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you've also got Richards at Palace.
Yeah, I've got no Palace defence.
Got a bit more, you can have Lacroix, or a bit more again, you can have Munoz.
Well, the reason I might not... Look, we'll do transfers later on, but the reason I might not have a 4.5 Palace defender is because I don't want the double up. I don't have any right now, but I have got eyes on Munoz. And now that we're selling Palmer, and we've sold Saka, probably selling Watkins as well, we've got all the money in the world, haven't we? All the money in the world. I'll have Porro, I'll have Cucurella, I'll have Munoz, I'll go big at the back. We're going to have so much money, aren't we? Unless you want to... I mean, even Mo, I think, is on the chopping block now, which we'll discuss a bit later on. But I don't think money's going to be a problem for us over the following weeks in FPL. So I'm going to probably go Munoz. And if I'm going to do that, then, my 4.5 of choice looks like Senesi. I think he looks great. But we'll talk about him a bit later on. Let's go back to the scores there. Anything to say about Burnley? I mean, it's a valiant effort, wasn't it? Valiant effort for them to come back into it a couple of times like that. Brilliant.
It was, and it showed that they have got some... if they're given an opportunity, they have got players that can do things. And I think that's quite interesting from a FPL perspective, because obviously, I appreciate what you've just said about the fact that money isn't really an object at the moment. But at some point it will be. At some point, the Palmers and the Sakas and the Salahs and Haaland's already there, but the other three will start performing. And when they do...
But they're not in a minute, are they?
Well, no, I know they're not at the minute, but that's why I'm keeping my eyes on players like Burnley picks, like the Sunderland picks, like the cheaper assets from elsewhere, because at some stage in the future, these premiums will come good. And when they do, you need to know who the right cheap assets are. Now, Burnley...
Liverpool next for them, so you're not investing, are you?
No. And if you have got them, you leave them on the bench. The Dubravkas, Estev, whoever it is that you've got, the Cullens of this world, you just bench them for this week. I don't think that they're not a priority sell by any stretch of the imagination. They're doing what they need to do as enablers. Yeah,
totally. Speaking of which, Liverpool up next for Burnley. Let's talk about this game. I've not cheered a goal like that for bloody ages, Sam.
Yeah.
God dear me, what a strike from Dominic Szoboszlai. What a strike! Trent who? I mean, who needs him? Get Szoboszlai at right back. Oh my God. The only downside of having Szoboszlai at right back is that you can't have him in centre midfield. This guy, honestly, he doesn't get tired. Szoboszlai doesn't get tired. And when he lines up that free kick, I'm just like, well, he ain't beating right from there. I said to you, didn't I? I said, well, I ain't beating right from there. So what's he going to do? Oh, what an absolute thunder bastard of a goal. Oh, loved it. Absolutely loved it.
The neighbours complained about the noise.
Yeah, and I don't care, because what an amazing goal it was. Not a very good game for the first hour or so. It came alive a little bit more in the last half an hour or so, but it wasn't a particularly good game. It felt like first half was a game of chess, wasn't it? Very, very safe football from both sides. No one taking any risks. A lot of backwards passing. What did you make of... Because I'm going to go into how thought it was a brilliant result for Liverpool in a minute. But Arsenal, they're getting a lot of stick a little bit on, not just on Sky, but on Twitter and stuff. I've seen a lot of the Arsenal fan YouTube accounts and a lot of all the social media talking about the fact, and I think they're right, by the way, talking about the fact that the game was there for the taking today. And I don't disagree. I think it was. I think Liverpool were there for the taking. We are not defending well so far this season. We were there for the taking. And they didn't just seize it, did they?
No.
He plays, 4 centre-halves and 2 defensive midfielders. He goes to Anfield not to lose and nearly does it. And he hopes to nick something from a set piece. And what they were saying on Sky was, until Arsenal and Arteta change that mentality, never going to win anything.
No.
Never going to win anything. So I agree with everything that's been said there. I think they should have seized it. I thought they did come and play too conservatively. They've lost to a 0.03 XG goal. It can happen. Did we deserve the win? Probably not. Draw was probably fair. But if you come to Anfield, that can happen. That can happen. And they were too conservative.
But I've said for the last couple of weeks about Liverpool that you've not been your best in either game so
Absolutely
far,
not.
against Bournemouth or against Newcastle.
Imagine when we start clicking.
Well, yeah, but also the point is that you're not playing your best, but yet you're still winning the games, and that's the important thing, is that you're not dropping the points, you're keeping the games up. It's hard from an FPL perspective, because there's not really, Liverpool are the one team where I don't really feel like there's a huge amount of consistency, maybe that's not the right word, in terms of who you pick. Like, obviously most people have started the season with Salah. There's Ep10, who I think a lot of people would like to go to, but maybe are a bit wary because the transfer window is still open and waiting to see what happens tomorrow with the closing of that and the Isak deal and all of that sort of stuff.
If Isak doesn't happen, will you get Ep10?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think Watkins to Ep10 is probably the easiest transfer I'll do all season. That will then leave me trebled up in Liverpool attack, which for Burnley I'm okay with, but I don't know if I want treble Liverpool attack going forward. And actually, of those 3 that I'll have, Ep10, Gakpo and Salah, you have to say that Salah is probably, based on the evidence of this season alone, and only this season alone, he's looking like the weakest pick, isn't he?
And the most expensive by a long way.
And the most expensive by a long way, which is why when I put on the thumbnail about Salah out, Haaland in, there will be a few FPL managers looking at that.
Yeah.
There will. And I know City have failed to impress again today, but never mind. Haaland's got his goal. Is it something that you've thought of or not? I mean, selling Salah ahead of Burnley seems like absolute nonsense, right? But,
Yeah, I'm not doing anything ahead of Burnley. I'll wait it out, and I want to wait it out until I see what happens in the transfer window, because players coming in and out of Liverpool, I mean, not necessarily expecting any more to leave, but those that are potentially coming in would make a big difference to how I choose to invest in Liverpool. So having got 2 at the moment, Wirtz obviously looked like he might have picked up a hamstring injury as well today, so that's something that I'm also going to have to be quite mindful of.
Plus, well, they played it down, didn't they, afterwards? So I think Slot came out in his post-match and said it was what did he call it? A welcome to the Premier League injury, and he said that Wirtz is getting cramps in places he didn't know could get cramps. So it sounds like it doesn't sound like a big deal for Wirtz, but yeah. One for the radar.
One to keep watching. Plus, I don't think he's the right asset to have in FPL anyway right now. So yeah, I'm kind of a wait and see on Liverpool. Salah doesn't feel like one I want to get rid of just yet, though.
He was brilliant again today, Wirtz, by the way. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
Like I'm waiting for this, and it's not coming, I don't think, because most FPL managers, most of you engaged managers out there, if you're watching this, if you're on Twitter playing FPL, you know ball, right? You watch a lot of football, and you know if you're watching a decent player or not.
Yeah,
he is unbelievable. He's a top player.
I'm really sorry, I don't feel very well. I'm just going to disappear for a second.
Oh, go on then.
You keep talking about Liverpool.
I'll talk about Liverpool. Go on then. You all right?
It's not Liverpool that I've just. Yeah, I'll be back.
Go on then. Is it hot? Is it a bit warm in here?
I think I might have just overheated, and I just feel like I might be sick, so I'm just going to step outside.
Go on then. You do that, and I'll talk about Liverpool a bit more. I'm going to talk about Szoboszlai's goal. Yeah. So yeah, for those of you that are engaged in FPL and watching a lot of football. Yeah, absolutely. Wirtz is looking brilliant. But from an FPL perspective, I don't know, guys. And I've said this a few times now. I'm not sure. Is the assist of the assist? He reminds me a little bit of Luka Modric from a few years ago. But Gakpo, Ep10, Salah, I still think yes, going to be okay. And then if Isak comes in, it's a game changer again, isn't it? It's a game changer again. what can we say about... Let's interact with a few of you guys in the chat, since I don't have Sam to interact with me here. I hope she's all right. I'm sure she is. Simon says, Slot's teams are so hard running. For me, it makes Liverpool tricky to know who to pick. Mate, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And Szoboszlai, even at right back today, you're not going to pick him while he's playing at right back, but it's good to know that we as Liverpool and Arne Slot as a manager has that as an option. That would be very good. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Mr. T10 dice, Salah is Salah. He still gets penalties and he can still turn it on anytime. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And like I said before, to sell ahead of Burnley just would not make sense. Let's have a look at these Liverpool fixtures. So again, sorting the next 6 by difficulty. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are 5th down. Burnley away. Everton at home in the Merseyside derby, which will be a humdinger, I'm sure. Palace away, which, you know, according to the Fantasy Football Scout ticker, is a kind of grey colour. It's somewhere between blue and red, but I'm telling you now, that is a difficult game. Chelsea away, a difficult game too. And then Manchester United at home and Brentford away. So, you know, I don't know, guys. According to Fantasy Football Scout, that's the 5th best run over the next 6. But I don't know. I think there's some tricky games in there. Some really tricky games. David is saying in the chat, the Kirkes Madueke beef was funny. I thought that was one of the better battles actually on the day. I honestly thought that was a really good battle. There was a couple of times in the first half in particular when, can't remember who played the ball, maybe it was Zubamendi, but it released Madueke down that side. And he absolutely cooked Kirkes. Absolutely cooked him a couple of times for pace. And Kirkes did well to recover the ground, regain it, and actually sort of get the foot in. And there was a couple of times when he dived in the box. I just thought, he's got to get that right. And he did, to be fair, Kirkes, he did. And actually ended up, on the night, by the time the 90 minutes was gone, I thought Kirkes had a really, really good game. Really good game. But yeah, that battle in particular was really good. Yeah, really good. From an Arsenal perspective in FPL, though, I don't know. Let's have a look at their fixtures. What's their fixtures looking like coming up? Let's have a look. So, Forest at home next, which again, according to the Scout ticker, is kind of blue, but also kind of grey. Based on what we're seeing at Forest at the moment, and maybe what's going on behind the scenes that we're, you know, maybe a little bit unaware of, that's looking like an all right game for Arsenal. Manchester City at home, looking like a 6-pointer. Newcastle away, West Ham at home. So 3 of their next 4 at home for Arsenal, which doesn't look too bad, I don't think. Doesn't look too bad. Who have I got in my FPL for Arsenal? I think I've got anybody right now. Defensively, you can still invest, right? Despite the fact that Saliba had to go off on 4 minutes, didn't he? So we've got to keep an eye on that. If you've got Saliba, definitely got to keep an eye on that. Obviously, we've got the international break now so that you can keep an eye on it. You haven't got to sort of deal with it immediately. So keep an eye on Saliba. But I don't have anyone else in my team. I don't know how I feel about Gyökeres today. I thought he did all right. I thought he did okay, Gyökeres, but I thought Konate largely kept him in check. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be running in or sort of busting a gut to get any Arsenal right now. Ødegaard being back for them. He come off the bench, didn't he? So that shoulder injury, obviously not as bad as perhaps once thought when it happened a couple of weeks ago or a week or so ago. Saka's obviously got to come back at some stage. The one thing I did like about when Eze come on for Arsenal today is that I think he's going to give them so much more balance across the pitch. One thing I did notice last season about Arsenal, and I've got some stats in an Ohana podcast to back this up, is that a lot of their play was biased towards the right-hand side. Obviously, because that's where their key threat Saka was last season. But it's also where Ødegaard likes to drift. He likes to drift out there into that wide right position. And I think they became a little bit predictable last season. I think if you could cut off that right channel, or if you could just overload that channel and force them left, it wasn't so bad because they're obviously not so potent on that side. Well, now that Eze's come in, whether he plays wide left and hugs the touchline, or whether he plays in that kind of left-sided 10, I think he's going to be a really good option. Really good option at 7.5. And I think he's going to make Arsenal better in the longer run because they're going to be much more balanced as a team. So definitely like Lucas Saka. He's like look of Eze at 7.5. He's going to be worthy of a look, isn't he? We're going to be looking at him at some stage. And the fact that he come on today, he did all right. He did okay. But I think he come up against Dominic Szoboszlai, our stand-in right back, who was very, very good indeed. Very, very good indeed. Guys, we're going to pause the live stream there for just a second. I'm just going to hit the mute button on the mics. I'm going to put the holding screen on. I'm going to go and make sure that Sam's all right. And then we'll be back as soon as we can, guys. All right. Guys, welcome back. Sam isn't very well. She's not very well. So she's okay, but she's just feeling not very well at all. So rather than run through the rest of the games, what I'm going to do is update you with our teams, how we got on. I'll tell you how I'm kind of looking for next game week, and then we'll call it, and we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks, because Sam is not feeling too good at all. So why don't I run through our game week scores? This is Sam's game week score, and trust me, this is not why she's had to run out of the room, but particularly bad week. So 32 points for Sam this week. Not too good a week. She captained Kudos, which I must admit at the time I was a little bit like, that's a bit left field. I don't know. But for sure it was a week where you could go a little bit different with your captaincy. But Kudos' captain was definitely out there. You can tell she's not well because some of this graphic is all over the place. Right, Gibbs White in midfield there, looking a lot like Cole Palmer, and Dewsbury Hall looking a lot like, I don't know, is that Juve or something in first sub? I don't know. Renildo and De Kuyper are obviously twins, and Dubravka now plays for Brighton. So apart from that, this graphic is looking absolutely sensational. 32 points. Her rank is not great. It's 8.6 million. So she's definitely looking to improve it over the international break. Now, I know she's thinking potentially about either free hits in game week 4 or wildcard. And what we'll do is, when she's feeling better, we'll put a podcast out there, probably an Ohana this Thursday, to talk about her plans and chip usage over the international break. So 32 points for Sam. Definitely some improvements to be had. For me, I've had the jammiest game week going, guys. So 68 points for me this week. Very, very happy. Despite the fact that game week 1 wasn't particularly good for me. Game week 2 was all right, and now game week 3 has been very good. Now, my transfer was Palmer to Semenyo. Hasn't worked out this week, although Bournemouth did look very, very good against Spurs. Obviously got the win. And they have got pretty good fixtures going forward. Let's just have a quick look at the Bournemouth fixtures going forward. They read like this: Brighton at home, Newcastle at home, Leeds away, Fulham at home, 3 of the next 4 at home, and the away game in game week 6 is Leeds. That is the run that I wanted Semenyo for. And for sure I could have done it next week. Absolutely could have done it next week. But with Palmer going down in price at least once, and I do have a bit of a fear of him going down in price again over the international break, I decided to do the Palmer to Semenyo switch early this week and see if I could get anything out of Antoine this week. Not to be, but I'm happy to now hold him going to the next few weeks. Porro's come in with a 4, which was completely unexpected. I thought he was going to finish on 9 defensive contributions. Turns out that when they did a recount, he got something like 12 or 13. So he gets the 2 bonus defensive contribution points, which were very welcome this week. My captaincy, as it says on the graphic, you can tell she's not well. It wasn't Salah at all. I had the captaincy on Bruno Fernandes. He come in with the 10, so that doubles to 20. Joao Pedro's in there with the 9. Happy with that too. But the jam was Dorgu. So I mentioned earlier in the live stream that Dorgu didn't play, obviously, for Manchester United. I was expecting him to at home to Burnley. The silver lining on the cloud is that the player that comes in off my bench is bloody Juve, who I'd benched because I absolutely did not expect them to keep a clean sheet or get anything out of that game at Nottingham Forest today. I didn't have Wood or Gibbs White. Obviously, I had Sells and Williams there at the back, but I was not expecting West Ham to score the 3 goals that they did. In fact, I was really worried not having Wood, not having Gibbs White. And I know a lot of you would have bought in Chris Wood. There would have been a lot of Chris Wood captaincies out there as well. So the fact that Dorgu didn't play and the player that comes on is Juve, who got that assist for the 3rd goal, I mean, talk about jam. I mean, that's absolute. I'll be the first to have a whinge on here if I've had some bad luck, but I'll be the first also to say when I've had some jam, and I definitely have had some there. And then the legend of the game week really was Keenan Dewsbury Hall to come up with an assist and a goal, particularly as I know that, I'm sure we would have had some good fun if Sam was here, if she was well enough to be here, talking about Dewsbury Hall, because she was less than favourable about him last week, no doubt about it. And I was saying, what more do you want for your 5.0 midfielder? He's playing in a 10 for Everton, who are creating a bit of XG, and he looks all right. If he was 8-9 million, I'd say, yeah, first couple of game weeks, get your finger out, lad. But at 5 million... I was happy to kind of hold him. I was not expecting a double-digit haul and a 12-pointer, but listen, we take it. We absolutely take it. So there's my team, 68 this week, a game week rank of 411k. That is definitely the best game week rank I've had so far this season. My overall rank, for what it's worth, and it's still way too early to discuss these, but 1.6 now, up from something like whatever the hell it was last time. I don't know, 5 point something, I think, maybe 4.9. So what's that, like a 2.5 million rank rise? Ridiculous, isn't it? Stupid time of the season to be talking about ranks. But in terms of next week, then let's have a look at my team. So this is kind of how it's shaping up for game week 4. I've got 2 free transfers in the bank. So I did have 2 going into game week 3, but I only spent 1. I just did Palmer to Semenyo. So I'm happy to have Semenyo in there now for the short term. And I rolled the other transfer. So now I've got 2 in the bank for over the international break. And I've got 3.3 million in the bank as well. So money and transfers in hand to do whatever I want to do with this team, frankly. Salah and Gakpo are going to go nowhere because of the Burnley game, and then Semenyo and Dewsbury Hall, both with decent-looking home games, particularly now that Villa game at home, unless something pretty drastic happens over the next 48 hours at Villa and they get some players in, they're going to continue to struggle, I think, and going to the Hill Dickinson is going to be a very difficult travel for them. So very happy to have Dewsbury Hall sitting there in my team. Bruno away at Manchester City. Listen, it's a Manchester derby. I can't sell him, can I? I've just got to keep him and just maybe he gets some points. It's the Manchester derby. Anything can happen, right? Joao Pedro is definitely going to say, I don't know about Watkins, I don't know about Watkins. I think of all of my team, and I'll talk about the defence in a minute, but of my front 8, he's the one that I have question marks over now, and maybe I move him to Ekitike if Isak doesn't come in. Maybe with my 3.3 in the bank, I move him to Isak if Isak does come in. I don't know. Maybe I get Isak fever. Who knows? But the transfers I'm actually more likely to make, and I did allude to it slightly earlier in the stream, is the ones at the back. So Dorgu now, having not played in game week 3, is he a rotation risk? I don't know. You United fans will know better than me, but Dalot certainly didn't play, I don't think, well enough in game week 3 to suggest that he's the start now, Dalot. I don't think Dorgu played particularly well against Grimsby either, by the way. That might be why he was dropped. But either way, I don't like the fact he might be a rotation risk now, and I did think he'd come on for... If he'd have come on for a 1-point cameo in game week 3 and blocked my 10 points off Juve, I'd have been well upset. Absolutely well upset. But as it is, Dorgu's in there. I'm probably going to switch him. And I'm probably going to switch him for Senesi, as I said before in the stream. So I'll have double Bournemouth in there, but with those 3 home games coming up for Bournemouth, and with only the away game against Leeds in 6 coming up away from the Vitality, and the way they're playing, right? Bournemouth playing very, very well indeed. Having Senesi and Semenyo in there looks good, and Senesi as well looks like a DEFCON monster. I don't know how many players have got, or how many defenders have got DEFCON contributions now every week. It's getting fewer and fewer, obviously, every week. I think we might be at about sort of 2 or 3. Tarkovsky, definitely. Don't think Van Dijk got any today. But yeah, Senesi's in there just because of the style that the left centre-back for Bournemouth. I remember looking at this in pre-season. There was an article on Scout. I read about it. The left centre-back for Bournemouth, he's got every chance of getting defensive contribution points because of the style they play and stylistically the way that position is important to Bournemouth. So Dorgu to Senesi looks good. Despite the 10-pointer, still don't really like the way that West Ham have started the season. Could that Forest game be a turning point for them? Maybe I just give Juve a little bit more time because he's been good to me this week. I don't know. I was all set to sell him over the international break, guys. Honestly, all set to sell him. And had I made 2 transfers this week, the other one outside of Palmer to Semenyo that I was looking at was Juve to Cucurella. I was looking at that, but I decided not to do it because I wanted 2 transfers and the money, a bit of flexibility over international break. So I decided to keep Juve, and I'm glad I did because obviously got 10 points this week. But that doesn't mean that I'm really wed to him long term. I don't know. Equally, I'm now looking at Nico Williams and Sells and the double up in the Forest defence and going, well, does that result today change the way I feel about them as well? And the fact that they've got quite a lot going on behind the scenes with Mr. Marinakis and with Nuno Espirito Santo. So Williams now all of a sudden, not nailed in my thinking. Guiu and Esteve, we've got to see what happens with Guiu. He might even return to Chelsea at this point, who knows? And Esteve's just there as my 4.0. So I feel like over the international break, there might be, and it might be a bit boring, but I might be investing in my defence. I might be spending a couple of transfers on Dorgu and maybe Esteve and getting Senesi and somebody a bit more exciting than Esteve, and maybe just having a bit more money in that defence. Notice I don't have a 6 million defender in there right now. I don't have a Van Dijk or a Cucurella or somebody like that. So Porro's my most expensive defender, and I'm I'm going to keep the faith with him. I'll keep the faith with him for now, but I don't like the fact that he and Juve are playing each other. I don't like the fact Williams has got Arsenal away, and then Estev's got Liverpool, right? And Dorgu's away at City. So I've got to do something about this defence, no doubt about it. Got to do something about the defence. But the rest of it kind of looks okay. Am I buzzing about Fernandes going to City? Not really, but it's Bruno. Anything can happen. Am I buzzing about having Watkins based on what I've seen today and the fact that when we watched the Villa game, Villa part looked really flat. It sounded really flat. And Unai Emery with his comments before the game about the goalkeeper did not look happy. It did not look happy. So maybe Watkins is on the chopping block as well. Maybe I take some more money out. Like I say, maybe it's a Ekitike or an Isak thing. But the defence definitely due an upgrade. And I think Dorgu is going to be the one that I change to Senesi. That's definitely looking like a transfer for me. Let's go to the out screen. Let's do a couple of questions, guys. Let's do a quick Q&A. Sorry that tonight's live stream hasn't quite gone according to plan, but she's not been feeling all that well all throughout the day, and I did wonder whether being in this hot room might be a bit too much for her. But she's okay. She's okay, but she's really not feeling well at all. So we are going to call it a little bit earlier than we normally would, but get in the live chat. Let's do a quick 5 minutes or so worth of questions, and I'll see what I can do about answering them. There's a couple of you in the chat. So Jack is saying Guiu is returning to Chelsea. Rob SAFC, he's been recalled. Has he? I obviously missed that news. So I know there was a chance that was going to happen, but yeah, I mean, if he's going to get it back, then if he needs to go back, and clearly on the Delap injury is clearly it's worse than we thought, right? I mean, clearly it's a long-termer. So, yeah, Guiu back to Chelsea. Who'd have thought about it? And Joseph Maloney, quite right. The Greek god heading to Roma. Yes, all the best to Kostas Tsimikas. What a cult hero he has been for us over the last couple of seasons. I think only a loan, Joseph, right? So at some stage, probably going to be coming back, I guess, at the end of the next season. So depending on what Robbo's doing, maybe this is Robbo's last season in a Liverpool shirt. Who knows? And if it is, then maybe we see Kirkes as the first choice and we see Tsimikas back in the squad. Who knows? Yeah, who knows? Let's see what you guys are saying. Mahad Jama is saying Verts to Saar or Semenyo. Well, listen, I was, if you'd have asked me that a couple of hours ago, I'd have said absolutely Semenyo because of the fixtures and the way that Bournemouth have started. And despite the fact that he's got no returns this week, Semenyo, last week he got the assist, got the 2 goals at Anfield in Game Week 1. And in Game Week 2, he got an XG of, I think, just over 1. So probably could have, maybe should have, would have had a goal in the second game as well. So I like Semenyo for the next few weeks. In fact, the fact that he blanked against Spurs means that not so many people are going to be looking at him. In fact, they're going to be looking at Saar instead, right? Who is also looking like a good pick. Absolutely looking like a good pick. And he pops up with a header, which is kind of unusual for him, right? At Villa Park today. So he's not a bad pick either, Saar. But I just like Semenyo. He's doing what Semenyo does, which is being greedy, taking loads of shots. I think he's already up there in the top 3 for shots taken in the league. So, yeah, don't mind it. And I bought him in this week with a view to getting some points out of him over the next sort of 3 or 4 weeks. Martin's in with the question, who to sell first, Rodgers or Watkins, and for who? Yeah, I mean, based on what we saw of Villa today, you could make a case, Martin, for selling both. I'm not being funny. They were really flat. And at the beginning of the second half, they did look better. No doubt they'd had a flea in their ear from Unai Emery at half-time. They came out and looked a bit better. But then when the Palace centre-half pops up and scores a goal like that, you saw the body language at Villa. I mean, there's a shot from behind the goal, which is the perfect angle to watch the Gage strike from. The Gage strike is brilliant. And that angle gives you a really good shot of Tyrone Mings. And Tyrone Mings just like, the arms go up, like that. You can't see it on the podcast, but the body language for Tyrone Mings, he's just so deflated, as if to say, I thought we were coming back into this, but there's a gut punch from, a centre-half Gay who's never, it's best goal he's ever scored almost. Like, it's probably never going to score a goal like that again. So you could make a case, Martin, for selling both. If you're sitting there with only one transfer, well, it's very difficult, Martin, isn't it, to sit there with a 9 million asset in Ollie Watkins and him look a bit flat. He had a couple of chances today, a couple of half chances, I would say. I wouldn't necessarily say he racked up tons of XG. So it's a difficult one. Plus, I don't think we're not sure that he's on penalties. I mean, there's a pretty good chance that Tielemans takes the penalties there. So even when Villa do get a pen, is it Watkins that takes it? I don't think we can be sure about that. So at 9 million... you have got plenty of other forward assets that you can go to. If you haven't got Joao Pedro, I think he's the one to go to. And then Ekatike, as I said before, if we don't get Isak, I think Ekatike is for sure going to find his way into my team. He's going to find his way into my team. Simon's in with a question. Last couple of questions, guys. I'm going 4 times 6.5 million mids. Who would you go with? Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a strat, isn't it, Nigel? I still think, mate, that we are early enough in the season that I would want to cover the price points. And that's why I was a bit reluctant to get rid of Watkins, because I do think that 9 million price point, you're going to want to cover it, I think, with either an Ekatike or a Gyökeres. I kind of was waiting for Gyökeres to come to the party, and then maybe we go with him. But with Eze now there as well, maybe he's my Arsenal attacker of choice. I don't know. So I don't know if I'm altogether on board with your strategy there, Simon, of going with the 6.5 mids. But yeah, listen, Elliot Anderson, he's a little bit cheaper than that, but missing out on the DEFCONs by 1 C-bit again this week. I mean, if you've got Elliot Anderson, you have been scammed out of 6 points in the last 3 weeks. It's incredible. He's got 11 clearances, blocks, interceptions, tackles, and recoveries. So 11 on the C-bit R rating for midfielders over the first 3 game weeks, which means he doesn't got any DEFCON points, which is mad. And by the way, he's not the only one at Forest, isn't he? I mean, we spent most of pre-season talking about how Murillo and his partner in crime at centre-half, Milenkovic, how the two of them would get DEFCONs every week. Well, apparently not. Apparently that was a lie. Of the 6.5 minutes, I still think Kudus looks all right, Si. I still would have a look at Kudus. And if you can afford a bit more, then as I said before, I think Semenyo looks all right. And Ismaila Sarr, as we mentioned before from Martin, I think Ismaila Sarr's a nice pick as well. Let's do one more question, guys, and then I'm going to go and make sure that Sam is all right. Tim Fell can keep the faith in Watkins or go Gyökeres. I don't think I'm keeping the faith in Watkins, but I'm not going to Gyökeres just yet. I'm not going to go there. Just yet, anyway. I'm pretty sure at some stage he's going to feature. I think he's going to feature. Webby's in with the KDH on my bench. Mate, you will not be the only one. I know he's on Sam's bench, first sub. She was waiting for Wirtz to pull a hammy in the warm-up or for somebody to miss out today, so she got that 12 points off the bench, but didn't in the end. Let's see. Eldon, I've had triple Forest defence for the first 3. Yeah, I mean, who knows what's going on behind the scenes there, but it's not right, is it? It's not right. Nuno's saying the wrong things. Marinakis hasn't really said much yet, but I don't think he needs to because Nuno's doing all the talking for them. Something not right there between them two and their relationship, and sugarcoat it all you want. It wasn't a good performance this weekend, and they paid the price, and I think, no smoke without fire. Who knows? We might find out more in the international break. All right, guys, that is it. We're going to call it there for this week. Sorry, we've had to cut it a little bit short, but health always comes first, as we always say here at FPL Family. So I'm going to go and make sure she's all right. I'll tweet an update later, but I'm sure that she is. Yeah, well done in game week 3. Well done for anybody in the 60s and 70s. Absolutely sensational scores. Have a little bit of a breather over the international break. So that was a busy 3 weeks of FPL, wasn't it? And a busy pre-season as we were talking about Club World Cup and everything else. Still don't think it's settled down yet. The football still think there's lots of patterns still to emerge, lots of narratives that we're going to see over the course of the international break. Still don't think we're seeing quite the patterns in the data that we're expecting. So if your rank isn't where you want it to be, do not worry. We've had 3 game weeks. We've got loads and loads of time for you to make good on that overall rank. But we will see you. We won't see you next Sunday because of the international break. We will do an Ohana podcast on Thursday, which will be free and available for everybody to download over on our Patreon site. And we'll do one the following Thursday as well, which will be a Game Week 4 preview. And then we'll be back in a couple of weeks right here on YouTube to discuss all of the FPL action from Game Week 4. All right, guys, leave a like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.